The Ice Age world was brutal. Frozen winds swept across Europe, and two kinds of humans fought for survival: Neanderthals and Homo sapiens. For hundreds of thousands of years, Neanderthals thrived. Stronger bones, bigger muscles, sharper tools, and eyes adapted to the dim light of glacial caves. And yet, they vanished. Modern humans survived, multiplied, and inherited the Earth. But what if the answer to this ancient mystery doesn't lie in weapons or warfare, but in a single gene? A microscopic code written deep inside their DNA, one that killed them and still lives on in us. Scientists have spent decades asking, why did the Neanderthals disappear? Climate change, disease, smaller populations, all valid theories. But new genetic research reveals something chilling. The Neanderthals may have been doomed by their own biology. The story begins with a gene called piezo-1. It controls how our red blood cells sense and respond to oxygen. In simple terms, it's the gene that helps your body breathe efficiently, especially under physical stress or in thin air. In Neanderthals, piezo-1 worked differently. It was perfectly tuned for life in the cold, helping them survive low oxygen at high altitudes and frigid climates. It gave them stamina where others might falter. But evolution can be cruel. What helped them endure their frozen world may have sealed their fate when they met us. When Homo sapiens migrated into Europe, the two species met and interbred. We know this because every person of Eurasian descent today carries about 1 to 2% Neanderthal DNA. But strangely, one particular gene is missing, the Neanderthal version of piezo-1. It simply vanished from the modern human genome. Why? Because it may have been lethal. When a Neanderthal mother carried a hybrid child, half Neanderthal, half human, the conflicting piezo-1 genes may have disrupted oxygen transfer to the fetus. The baby couldn't get enough oxygen in the womb. Pregnancy failed. Generation after generation, this invisible incompatibility weakened the Neanderthal line until it could no longer sustain itself. No war, no cataclysm, just a quiet genetic collapse, hidden in the blood. And yet their DNA didn't disappear completely. Fragments survived, passed down in the modern human genome. Many of these fragments still shape us today, influencing how our immune systems react to disease, how our skin handles sunlight, even how our bodies store fat. At around this point, if you're fascinated by the way DNA rewrites human history, take a moment to subscribe to GenealogyX, where every strand of human ancestry is a story waiting to be decoded. Now, back to the mystery. Researchers notice something striking while comparing genomes. Almost no one alive today carries the Neanderthal version of piezo-1. It was weeded out completely. Other Neanderthal genes survived, but not this one. That suggests it caused a serious biological disadvantage in hybrids, so severe that natural selection erased it. Think about that for a moment. We didn't kill the Neanderthals with spears. We killed them with genes. Each hybrid pregnancy was a roll of the genetic dice. Some succeeded, many failed. And over just a few thousand years, the population that once ruled Ice Age Europe dwindled to extinction. But the story doesn't end there, because piezo-1, or rather its modern version, still affects us today. It influences how our red blood cells handle oxygen. People who inherit certain mutations in piezo-1 may have altered responses to altitude, exercise, and even infection. Some variants seem to protect against malaria. Others make people more prone to circulatory problems. In other words, the same gene that may have doomed the Neanderthals continues to shape human health in the 21st century. This is where science blurs into fate. If you were to trace your bloodline far enough back, you'd find that your ancestors carried the scars of that ancient genetic war. Every breath you take is shaped by the DNA that survived, and by the DNA that didn't. But there's another twist. When geneticists studied ancient remains, they found something else missing from our inheritance: Neanderthal mitochondrial DNA, the part passed down only from mothers. That means every surviving human Neanderthal hybrid line came from Neanderthal fathers and human mothers. Not one from Neanderthal mothers. Why? Possibly the same deadly incompatibility. Neanderthal women who carried hybrid babies may have lost them due to oxygen deprivation caused by that one genetic mismatch. It's haunting to think that extinction can come not from conflict, but from love, from two species so similar they could mate, yet so different they could not produce enough healthy children to continue. So the next time you picture Neanderthals vanishing in some great battle, imagine instead a quiet, invisible tragedy happening inside the wombs of mothers 40,000 years ago. A slow fade of a people who were almost us, and yet they are not entirely gone. Their legacy pulses in our veins. Studies show that Neanderthal genes influence our immune response, our metabolism, even our risk for certain mental health conditions. Some researchers have linked Neanderthal DNA fragments to modern disorders like depression, nicotine addiction, and sleep patterns. Others to enhanced resistance against viruses and colder climates. The ancient genome isn't dead. It's dormant, whispering through our biology. Let's pause on this question. What if a single gene in your DNA carries the memory of an extinction? What if every heartbeat you feel is proof that you survived a genetic lottery that another human species did not? It's almost poetic. A mutation that once caused death now helps define life. Today, when scientists replicate Neanderthal genes in the lab, they can see how subtle the differences really were. Their brain chemistry wasn't primitive. It was simply tuned differently. They weren't beasts. They were another kind of human. Intelligent, emotional, creative. They made jewelry. They buried their dead. And yet, one invisible genetic quirk kept their future from unfolding. The piezo-1 gene is a reminder that evolution isn't a ladder of progress. It's a web of chance. One shift in chemistry, one microscopic mismatch can decide who thrives and who disappears. It also tells us that extinction isn't always violent. Sometimes it's quiet, cellular, inevitable. So what can we learn from this? That every human alive is a mosaic of victories and losses. We are walking museums of ancient code, the sum of every survival, every mutation, every adaptation that made us possible. The Neanderthals didn't vanish entirely. They became part of us, and maybe that's the greatest twist of all. The very gene that might have destroyed them may also have strengthened our species, making us more resilient to changing environments, diseases, and oxygen levels. In the end, their extinction was not absolute. It was an evolution, a merging. So the next time you take a breath, remember that somewhere deep inside your cells lies the story of an ancient struggle. One gene's tragic victory that echoes through every heartbeat. If you've been captivated by this journey into the forgotten past, don't forget to subscribe to GenealogyX, where DNA isn't just science, it's storytelling written in blood. Because maybe the most haunting truth of all is this: the Neanderthals never truly died. They live in us, and the gene that killed them still whispers in our veins, still whispers in our veins.